Yo, what's up guys, it's Jack and welcome back, and look what we have here, some classic Black Ops 1, and let me tell you, this is like the first or second game, I think, if memory serves correctly, of when I just started playing this game again, and I just played it yesterday, and you know, within minutes, if not actually within seconds, I was quickly reminded as to what made this game so great. And another thing is that for the next Call of Duty, for it to succeed, in my humble opinion, for the game to succeed, they need to go back and think about this game and what made it so great. Because if you really think about it, especially if you've been in the Call of Duty community for the last, let's say, 7, 8 years, or maybe even up to 10 years or whatnot, or around that amount of time, you will remember that this was a really good and successful Call of Duty game. And a lot of people liked it. A vast majority of the community absolutely fell in love with this game, and rightfully so. And for me, personally, this was my first Call of Duty. And, well, my first Call of Duty was Modern Warfare 2, but this was the game that made me fall in love with the series. And it's the precursor of everything that we're getting today in terms of what we love from Treyarch. And even the precursor of what we're getting today in Call of Duty, period, actually. Because if you think about it, the way this game was designed, now, I'm not saying that this game didn't have its fair share of problems, because it sure did. This game has a lot of what I like to call Call of Duty problems. But with that being said, there's a lot of things that this game did right. And that's all a good Call of Duty is. I mean, when you cut it down to the very basics, a good Call of Duty is a Call of Duty that gets more things right than it gets wrong. Okay? And this is pure gameplay as well. Like, we're talking just from a gameplay perspective. We're not talking graphics, we're not talking anything else. We're talking gameplay. In terms of what makes Call of Duty good, this game is a very good example. And there's an old saying that if you're lost, because the Call of Duty series right now, to me, the best way to describe it is, in a respectful way, is it's lost. When lost, it's really good to go back and start over again. And what they can do is they really need to pay attention to what's going on right now with the games, obviously, but they need to pay attention to how the game was during its state in this game. And what we used to get, oh my goodness, what we used to get in this game on release was absolutely phenomenal. And and it was only a 2-year cycle compared to a 3-year cycle. And on top of that, the game was still pure. Call of Duty was still pure. There was minimal BS. There was DLC, obviously, but there was minimal BS. In other words, we didn't have any supply drop bullshit to worry about. But that's not going anywhere, so it's not even worth mentioning, right? But the amount of content we used to get for the game on release was just great. I mean, you definitely got the bang for your buck, and there was always something there for somebody. Skill-based matchmaking was either non-existent or so minimal that it might as well be considered non-existent. And the maps were designed for all play styles. They were designed to keep you moving, but at the same time, if you wanted to camp, you can certainly do that, and that's for sure. So the game was the precursor of the 3-lane maps. Like, there are 3-lane maps in this game, but not all of them are like traditional 3-lane maps to where the way they are now. I think in terms of map design, I think Treyarch right now has pretty much mastered it. Like, if you look at Black Ops 2, the direct sequel to this game from Treyarch, I mean, they really ended up mastering a lot of things that they had trouble with in this game as well as responding to the community in terms of the snipers and the weapons and support for competitive. I mean, you name it. So it would be really healthy for Treyarch as well as for Call of Duty for them just to start looking at this game. What made this game so successful and so good, and just take a look at everything, just review it. Obviously, nobody knows their game better than they do, but at the same time, there are a lot of passionate fans out there that have spent time and continue to spend time with this game and all games in Call of Duty in general. So they have a different point of view on what is great and what is not. It goes beyond just collecting data. I know that has its merits, and I know that it gives a ton of information and very specific information that's absolutely crucial to the game's success. But at the same time, when fans are experiencing something, it's just as valuable, especially if those fans are fans that know what they're talking about. And what I mean by that is people that have been supportive of the series by playing it for the last, let's say, X amount of years. I don't know the specific number to say, but I'd say if you've been playing religiously for at least 3 to 5 years at this point right now, at least 3 to 5 years, then I would say that you're a fan that has a really good idea of what they want, especially if you've been through that transition to where you used to be getting your butt handed to you in games, and then all of a sudden now you've become a completely different player, because that plays a role as well. That plays a role as well. And it goes, and the thing is, another thing I want to mention briefly is that obviously for reasons that are very understandable, the developers definitely respond to pro players' feedback extremely quick, and they adjust things according to what the pros tell them, and rightfully so, because there are players that spend a tremendous amount of time with the game, more than most pub players do. But at the same time, there are pub players out there that do this for a living, whether it's streaming or whatever it is. And even pub players that don't stream or don't do this for a living or anything like that, and don't get on YouTube or Twitch or streaming or whatnot, but play the hell out of the game, those guys should have a say in it too. So, and back during this game's days, I think that the public community, or should I say the casual community in this game, had a little bit more, what could I say, their words were a little bit, they carried a little bit more weight as compared to what they do now. So in terms of success in the future Call of Duty game, they need to think about it from that perspective as well. Not just like what made this game great, but the state of the community when this game was in its prime during its life cycle. Because if you look at it, Call of Duty was way healthier back then than it is now overall, in my humble opinion. And from what I've read and seen on the internet, a lot of people will agree. So, in long story short, for the next Call of Duty to succeed, we need to go back to the beginning. We need to look in deep into terms of what made this game great and the games before it, and the games before the recent ones now, and kind of put everything together, add a little bit of something new that keeps it fresh but doesn't ruin the game, and build upon what you've built before and keep building and improving. And it really is that simple. So let's hope they do that, because this game, Call of Duty Black Ops 1, was a very solid Call of Duty. And like I said before, there's a laundry list of problems. Well, not a laundry list, but there's a handful of problems that this game had, but everything else that it did correctly made the game legendary for a lot of fans. But anyway, guys, that's all I got for this one. I wanted to briefly talk about this, and let me know what you guys would like to see in the next Call of Duty game, and what direction do you think Call of Duty should go in? Should we look at previous games and see what they did, as I mentioned here, or do you guys have another idea? Let it be known down in the comment section. As always, if you enjoyed the video, let me know, and if you didn't, let me know what I can do to make my videos better, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.